introduced by name. And then, see, look at Jay did it again. Damn it, Jay!
I don't know what you're talking about. What is going on? What is going on?
Okay, we let you back on the show, and look what happens.
Come on now. What? We're trying to have a show here, Katie. Will you just... We got to focus, okay? We got to focus
all
here.
right. That's it. Everyone shut up. Shut up.
Shut up. I'm talking. Wait a second. That sounds like something familiar. Well, hey, everybody. You're back on Spilling Ink. We had a little bit of a break there. And yes, we had a little bit of a break, and I had a little bit of a long break due to my COVID infection that just kept popping up and kicking my ass. But I'm back, and I sound fairly normal, I think. So I'm going to attempt to do this right. And by do it right, what I mean is I'm going to turn it over to Katie to do our sponsor introductions. Go ahead, Captain Trainwreck. All
right. A word from our sponsor who we absolutely love. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. I am Joe Compton, and welcome to our channel, Go Indie Now. This is the place that celebrates indie artists and indie art, and we do so by producing several shows that either air on daily, weekly, monthly, or seasonal scheduling. And within those shows, we aim to educate and entertain you. If you're an indie artist who's trying to figure out how to do this, this is the place you need to be. If you're an indie artist who's looking to promote and doesn't have any avenues and is tired of the grind, this is the place to be. Because remember, it's always time to go indie now. Within those shows,
Katie, I wanted to talk about the weight loss journey I'm currently going on right now. So.
Wait, hold on. I hear an echo. Does somebody have YouTube running or Facebook running?
No, that was me. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I knew
it.
Jason Stuart is quickly becoming my favorite dude on here, just for the fact that I am glad I'm not the only one that makes the echoes.
Well, no, I'm sad that last half hour you guys are all catching up on your lives, and I don't know what's going on, but it's okay. I'm not here.
Don't worry. You'll get used to the insanity that is our little tribe.
I don't need any more insanity. Thank you so much. I don't want any extra. I don't want to get used to it, or no. I want serenity. I live in Palm Springs. One side is the mountains, the other side is the palm trees, and I'm totally.
And every day is a loop, right? You just live the same day over and over?
Oh, God, don't say that. It's scary. You wake up, you get up, you go pee, you look at your phone, you do your little prayers. You exercise. It is sort of odd living at home so much. I have to say, I'm going a little nuts. The sex is over. I have my new boyfriend, Pornhub. He's great.
Yeah!
What's really great about him is he's always there, and if he's not there, he sends somebody else.
That's funny.
I hear he has a good friend named Hamster, right?
What?
Yes. Well, I haven't been involved with him because I'm alone.
Dig it!
All right.
Well,
before we get too in-depth
before the boys get too carried away, by the way, mine's name is Pornhub Premium.
You pay for it? Wow.
It's free. It's like a COVID special, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Free. Maybe
I don't know. I think me and the hamster are the ones that are super tight. I ain't paying for none of that.
All right. Well, we have Mr. Brian Tan on tonight, who is basically here to shake shit up. I mean, that's what Brian does. I mean, Brian's great at that.
He's supposed to be playing our Jane today because Jane is out, unfortunately, with COVID, and we've been out how many weeks now because our team just keeps getting taken down.
Yeah, I know it. Well, and then we have a brand new guest today, which I'm really excited about, Mr. Jason Stuart. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, besides not having sex and being alone, how's life treating you?
Well, I live next door to my 83-year-old mother, so I'm now a spinster.
Oh, fantastic.
And I become that guy that lives at the end of the block, that everybody goes, oh, yeah, he never found anybody. He just throw a ball into my yard, right? And then of course, and then I'm that guy that keeps it now.
Oh no!
Oh, so you're
guy.
Mr. Myrtle. You're Mr. Myrtle.
I guess so. But I'm very happy to be on the show. I'm here to talk about my new book called "Shut Up, I'm Talking," which is my autobiography. I just have to have a coffee. Oh, they're coming out in Hollywood and making it to the middle. That's the subtitle.
Well, that guy doesn't look like you at all. I mean, that's a good looking guy.
That is a striking image. Like, wow. I feel those eyes piercing into my soul.
Are you trying to say that I'm unattractive in person?
Oh, Jay.
But that was Brian.
5 minutes.
No, Jay, I was just saying that image was like staring into my soul, strumming my pain.
You want you to get the book, and
I mean, I seriously feel like Roberta Flack wrote a song about that picture.
That looks like a dare to me. That's the face of I dare you to buy this.
Well, that's what I'm hoping.
Are you gonna get it?
And I also have a series on Amazon called Smothered, which is about these two guys who've been in a relationship for 30 years who hate each other and can't get divorced. And
I love it.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
You have to watch it. It is hilarious. Oh my god.
See, when you said Smothered, I thought you were talking about like that reality show. That's what came up, and I was
no. Let's stick to the facts. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Watch that show.
All right, good, because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a Brian Tan show. Now this looks like a Brian Tan show.
Well, I'm hoping you'll watch.
You know what? As soon as we come off the show tonight, me and the wife are gonna pause the show that we're watching, and we are gonna watch this.
Well, it's you can just go to smotheredtv.com. You can watch it on Amazon, YouTube, Revry if you have it. Roku, Apple TV, a million things, and even something in London called Pause.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have to say, I just watched it, and hilarious. Oh my god, it's fun watching any kind of relationship breakdown. I think is hilarious to watch. But you guys really did a great job just nailing those just underhanded verbal punches at each other.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch this. We
just got nominated for 3 Queerty Awards.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Both of us were nominated for Best Actor in a Digital Series, and the series was nominated. So we really feel very proud of it. And we hope that people watch and laugh and sort of get a little away from all this madness that we're dealing with every day.
Heck yeah.
What inspired the show?
Well, Mitch definitely is an interesting guy. He plays Randy. That's my partner, Mitch Hara. Very talented, very funny guy. And he had approached me to do a series. We've known each other probably a million years. And he approached me to do this series because we argue all the time. And I had asked him to be in another project that I was trying to get off the ground that didn't get off the ground about people that were over 50. And he sort of got on people's nerves just a little. So I had to say, this is not going to be a good fit. So he did not like that answer, and he hung up on me. And then he called me back and said, I have this great idea. And we met with this great director, Terry Hanover, and we both wrote this together. And then we got this great editor, Rob Plaget, and hence Smothered.
Nice.
That's awesome. So we're trying to sell your autobiography, but I guess we should get into a little bit about who you are. So now we've got a spoiler here. We know that you were in a television series. Now you're an actor and a writer?
Actor, stand-up comedian, bit of a writer,
okay.
Bit of a producer, content creator. Yeah.
That's awesome. How long have you been in the entertainment business?
Really? Oh my God. Probably since I was 8 or 9 years old. So you'll need to read the book. Shut Up, I'm Talking.
Oh.
Gotcha.
I've been in business over 40 years.
Oh my goodness. I was going to say 20 based on your fantastic looks.
Over 40 years, yeah.
Oh, that's
I gotta
awesome.
say, the accent is very East Coast.
Yes.
I was born in New York, but I'm really an LA boy. I've lived there my whole life until I moved to Palm Springs a year and a half ago.
Okay. All right. Now, you were telling us you live next to your mom.
I live next to my 83-year-old mom, who probably right now is at Ross Dress for Less. And she's 83 and still shops at Forever 71.
That sounds about right. Yep.
Now, when are you going to make a show about you and your mom being neighbors? Because
when am I going to make a show that someone's going to buy? Do you have someone to buy this show, or you want me to make another one?
You know what? If I had the funds, I would. I'm trying to get people to buy my crap.
Call someone. You know, that's how the name of the book, Shut Up, I'm Talking. We used to do this little, I guess this little Facebook Live. We would go shopping, go to the supermarket, and we'd just have the camera on a stick following us around, and we would talk. And I say, Mom, pick a peach already, for God's sake. It's not a car, it's a peach.
That sounds like something that would go on between me and my mother.
Like my mom's hysterically funny. She's very sexy and funny. She's been married 4 times. 2 she married, 2 she killed. I wanted to give a shout out to one of my biggest fans, Angie King.
Yes,
and,
Angie.
Janie Taylor, and of course Karen S. Height are all watching. Patricia Annette, I think that's somebody for you guys. So thank you all for listening in. Oh, Jinky, the Crush. I think that's Julia Jink. I think that's the one who I did an article for. I think that's who Jinky is. But maybe there's more than one Jinky.
I'm feeling all kinds. Well, see, Jay is only doing this to like mess with me now because I can't eat cereal. You are so hateful, you monster.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? I'm about to give you the Rikishi treatment.
Well, you know, I just went grocery shopping today because my lovely wife, who is a truly amazing woman, her ex.
Damn right she is.
She is. Yeah, she made that baby Yoda. Her ex-mother-in-law is having surgery, and she doesn't have anyone to help to take care of her. And so my wife is leaving me for 10 days to go and take care of this woman to help her recover and get better. And so I went to grocery shopping today, and most of my grocery cart was stuff like this, and ravioli, because what am I going to do on my own?
Coke?
Yeah. No, what?
I mean, I'm just saying. My mother told me when I was about 7 years old. She said, you ain't guaranteed to find a woman that's going to want to put up with you, so you going to have to learn how to cook and take care of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I can make mac and cheese. I mean, I can.
Oh, so you can read the instructions on the craft box.
Hey, and I can sew. I can sew as well. I'm learning how to sew. So I've got.
I can sew. I can
sew.
sew.
A very odd skill set.
Yes,
very odd.
That's true.
All right, let's get back on track.
Yeah, sorry. I always do this.
Jeez, Brian Tan, author of The Enforcer.
All right, so let's get back to Jason. So, aside from the work in TV and acting and being a stand-up comedian, you wrote this book. Why did you decide to write this book? What were you hoping to get from it?
Money.
Well,
money. Yes.
I always wanted to write a book because I think when you get to be a certain age, you want to give back. I always say when you go up the stairs in the elevator, you go up the elevator, you should take people with you. And you're able to go up in the elevator of success, and you want to take people with you. And I think that's important. So I always have, and as I've been getting older, I've felt this need to mentor and to partake information. So I was on Facebook one day, and this guy named Dan Duff, who was one of the producers of the Stephen D.C. show out of St. Louis, Missouri. I used to work there quite a bit at the Funny Bone. I was very popular there in the 90s. And he called me and said, hey, I wrote this book. Would you read it? And I said, sure. It was called The Half Book. And he's a straight guy. He had gotten cancer. And the book was funny and charming and sad and touching. And I said, oh, my God, I just love the book so much. I wish somebody would help me write my book. Because people have been telling me to do a one-man show for 100 years. And I said, no, I've been doing stand-up for 100 years. I want to just act. I want to act with other people more. So that's what I focused on in the last 10 years. So he said, I said, do you know anybody? And he said, I would love to do it with you. So we wrote it over Skype for a year. And then it came out in 2019.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Was it, did you feel like it was a natural collaboration working with him?
Very much so, because I am, being a gay kid and going to school and being bullied so much in school and and having to deal going to school in the 70s and 80s with all the things, I don't think that I was able to really listen in school, and I think that I didn't get the best education because of that. So I always say, I always say that the hardest thing for me to do sometimes is to sit with pen to paper and just sit for hours. And after 2 years of doing stand-up, I stopped doing that, and I just wrote down bullet points, and I would bring things and improvise it on stage, and then do something that worked, and then bring something that was new, and do something that was and all that kind of thing. And with the book, what I did is I basically spoke these stories to him. He taped them, typed them up, sent them to me. I rewrote them. Then we got back and we would write together, and then I'd rewrite. And that's the way we did it.
What an interesting sounding process. And I like the idea that you weren't necessarily writing out everything verbatim that you're going to say when you go on stage, that you were actually making yourself bullets or topics that you were going to go off of. That's pretty neat.
It's also being dyslexic, growing up in school and not being able to have the education of other people in the same way. So I just learned to deal with it. And what's really great is I've been on, I'd say, of the 150 or 60 shows I've done as an actor, I'd say probably a third of them I've improvised on.
Okay.
Or rewrote in some way.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, because I'm not a Shakespearean actor, but I'm a character actor that can improvise. And I've done that for years and years and years.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and my youngest daughter is, and we're waiting to see a specialist, but we and they all have the opinion that they're probably dyslexic, and so we're trying to get them some help.
I wonder whether dyslexia is environmental, or it's something that's that it comes from that, or it comes from actual the I guess who you are, your family, or your. I think it's a little bit of both, because so many people are. And I didn't even know I was until I hit around 40, when I saw Tom Cruise on some TV show saying that he was. And he says, I mix words up and I move them around, and when I'm memorizing dialogue, I said, oh my God, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I realized I had the same problem.
Well, and Emma will do that all the time, and sometimes she'll come out into the living room to talk to us, and she'll start talking, and then she'll stop halfway through a sentence, and I know that she's forgotten what the next word was supposed to be, and she doesn't know how to keep going from there, and it's got to be pretty frustrating as a child to be working through that.
Well, I think everybody learns things differently. Everybody does things differently.
Yeah, it's not meant for people to learn differently. School, just like one of our commenters said, it's all about
conformity.
Yeah, they don't teach to the students' aspirations or what they're going to be good at. They teach towards a standard format curriculum, and they actually teach towards tests. But that is a topic for a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
we can go down the rabbit hole on that.
I will say this though. I mean, I went to Catholic school from 1st grade to 10th grade, and my grade school English teacher, she actually really encouraged my reading. Like, other kids in class didn't read much. I was the only one that was able to like borrow books from her personal library, because I'd read them and finish them like the very next day. So that was the only bit of, difference that was encouraged in a Catholic school in the 80s.
I was in the slow reading group, and I remember I hated when they made us read out loud, because my brain and my mouth are not on the same wavelength. And so I might be able to read it faster in my head, but the minute I have to say the words out loud, I would slow down, I would screw up, and I remember being put in the slow group because of that. And you know what? I write and edit books now, so, I got over most of the problems with that. I learned how to deal with them, but it wasn't because they helped. It was because I figured it out on my own.
Well, one of our viewers, Julia, out there, wants to ask Jason what his tips are for writing funny.
Oh, I have no idea. I'll tell you. It's true.
Magic.
It really is. God bless
a wizard did it.
It's interesting about that's just who I am. I think funny. It's like I was watching him eating, and I thought to myself, God, that joke is getting so old. Anyway, how many times can we see that same joke happening in the last 10 minutes? It's going to
over and over.
Did you get the joke? Did you get the joke? Do you have it? You have the joke? Are you sure? Shut up! I'm talking. You can get this on Amazon right now.
Oh, look at that! That is salesmanship.
And if you want to get it autographed, just send me an email. Go to my website. Go on the contact page, and there's my office, Modern Artists, and you can send me an email at modern871@gmail, and I will autograph it, and I will actually go to the post office and mail it myself.
What would it cost to have you actually
$20.
over?
$20
to have you come over and deliver it, though.
To just go all the way to another state. Let me just think a second. It's never happened.
I'd probably say like room and board for like a rest at least.
Well, not if you live in Palm Springs. You're not going to want to come to Michigan.
I think that I think that, you know, the idea of having people come to your house that you don't know in this day and age, this isn't Little House on the Prairie, you know.
Even before COVID, I was like, oh, you want to come over?
Come out and play, you know. Oh, here's Alexandra K. Cardenas. I had anger issues. A teacher finally threw the book at me. Literally between that and embroidery, of all things, I learned to breathe. Well, thank God, because I'm glad that embroidery helps you, because it helps no one else. There's no one else. No, it's great that you do it. Just don't give it to anybody. Yeah. Don't keep them in a big satchel somewhere, and just do it to feel better and breathe. But do not give it to anybody in their house. We don't all want to look like the shady rest. But I love you. I love you more than my luggage. I love everybody. Ask some questions. We'd love to hear from you.
I love the fact that like that just goes to show how classy Jason is. Jason has luggage. Me, I just have garbage bags that I haven't thrown clothes in yet.
You do not. I do not believe that.
Shoot.
We need
You should have seen the last few times that whenever I've moved, I've just thrown everything in contractor bags and been like, well, here we go. looking like chocolate Santa.
I just want to judge all of you and your backgrounds. I want to judge you. Now, you, Brian, either the door needs to be open or closed. I can't. That's it. Open or closed. I
can't close the door because that's where the cat's food is at.
I don't care. Make the cat eat someplace else. It's a goddamn cat. It's not a person. Either the
three of them.
We all have to look at this.
What? What did my door do to you?
It's just look at my background. It's all pictures from my career. I'm here for an interview as a professional. You have a headset on. You look like you're going to take off or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm on the highway to the danger zone, man. What do you want from me?
You're on the highway to living in your mother's basement.
Ow! Damn.
And so
my balls.
Let's judge Jay just a little. Jay, I do like the wallpaper there, right there from Green Acres. I love that, lovely. And I don't know what's next to it. It's the whole black and white look. It's good.
Joanne Fabrics right there.
It's soundproofing, right?
It is, yeah.
Well, obviously from our sound thing before, it doesn't work, but it's nice.
Oh.
Captain Trainwreck, all that stuff there on there, it's just too much. Get rid of it. It's not clean. It doesn't. I don't know. What is this? Some children's bedroom? It looks. You got to do something. And the curtains I do like, but I don't know what's behind you on the other one. What's that?
That's another curtain. I'm hiding my bookshelf.
Oh, well, God, the bookshelf makes people look smart. I love that.
No, it's sideways. The way the angles are. This is literally a corner. And so the bookshelf side is right here, and then you can see my hallway from there. So
we know Katie ain't baby.
Obviously, some people need to redecorate if they have to hang curtains over things.
Well, Katie ain't baby because her ass is in the corner.
All right. I knew there was going to be a reference to Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
I feel like someone needs to get a hold of Jason's mom.
And you know what? I give you kudos to that because
Green Acres and Petticoat Junction.
Being a movie and TV guy, like a nerd like I am, I have never just thrown a Green Acres reference into anything, so I salute you, sir.
Well, go online, look at my IMDb, ask me a question about a show that you like.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it right now.
8,000 movies, right?
Yeah, you.
Oh no! I've done a lot. I've done probably around 10 studio pictures, another 20 independent films, and around 40 episodes of TV, and then some web series and shorts and things that no one has watched or cared about. You know.
Hey man, you were in Kindergarten Cop, okay?
Yes, I was.
I love Kindergarten Cop.
So did everybody. The original.
Yes, not the one with Dolph Lundgren. Oh,
No,
God.
not that
Why
one.
did that happen?
Is he in a movie called Kindergarten Cop?
He's in Kindergarten Cop 2.
There is
Oh,
no
God.
Kindergarten Cop 2.
Yes, there
It
is.
wasn't called that.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
How much you want to bet?
I will bet you Jason's left nut.
What
I
a-
will bet you, if I win, that means you have to move the food for the cat and close the goddamn door.
Fine, I will close the goddamn door. I guarantee
I'm
you
gonna look it up right
because
now.
it was on Netflix as Kindergarten Cop 2.
I would know this because every fan would go insane and tell me. For those who don't know, I played the
You're the
Dolph
hairdresser.
Lundgren. It's D-O-U Dolph.
D-O-L-F, D-O-L-P-H,
D-O-L-P-H.
L-U-N-G.
L-U-N. Oh, there it is.
What the hell's happening here?
No, it's the truth. We've taken over your show. What year did the movie come out?
It was within the last 10 years.
Well, that's not very specific.
Well, that's good.
Glad to see Dolph is getting some work.
Sharknado 5. That was the show. That's what I meant.
Were you one of-
Sharknado is the one that
You
we
are totally right. Oh my God.
When it comes to movies, I am
How
usually
did
right.
I not? This movie must have been such a bomb. That
Well, see, there are bombs, and then there's Kindergarten Cop 2. Okay.
because Penelope Ann Miller and I are friends, and she we weren't friends from this movie. We were friends we were in the movie The Birth of a Nation 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And we both were in that. We would know all this. Nobody except for Dolph Lundgren. I don't know any. Bill Bellamy is in it. Okay.
Yes, he is.
I can't believe I wasn't asked to redo my performance of the hairdresser.
You would have easily been the best part of that entire movie. Because
Oh
wow.
my God.
All right. So fine. I'll ask you something about something that you were in.
I'm really upset that I don't know this. How do I get past it?
Because Brian Tan has nothing else in his life but his writing and movies.
reframe that.
I'm
You
sorry.
are one half of the plotaholics.
That
it
is
your
true.
Job to know.
Yeah. Before I was doing plotaholic stuff, I was just some nerd that had nothing else but
If
movies.
anybody says reframe that to you again, you change the channel.
All right, fine.
Please buy my book. Shut up, I'm talking. Available on Amazon.
I am buying your book now just because. I don't know why, but I feel this heavy urge to buy this book.
You
So I'm going
should.
to buy it. I'm
the
going
fact
to.
that you haven't bought it is offensive.
I apologize, sir.
You
Please do not flog me unless it is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday. Then whatever happens, happens.
Wait,
Isn't it
it's
almost
that's
that
coming
time?
up here.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
so
I don't like making people wait, Katie.
Okay.
Oh,
Look,
Karen Height made a comment. She says, new career for Jason Stuart, an interior designer for your backgrounds. Yes, thank you. Richard
All right,
White-
fine. You know what? Hey, hon, can you close the door before I get... I feel so targeted.
Yeah, Sharon, come on here.
Well, it's enough of those special need headset thing that you have.
Oh, come on, man.
I should say too that yes, my background stuff is cluttered, but it is also my books as well.
Go publish yourself. I love that.
That's what she
And-
said.
Write the damn book.
That's what
Oh
she
my
said.
God. I would say don't write the book. No, it's a great thing. You got to support. Everybody has one story to tell. That's what they say, right?
That's true.
Everybody has
That
one
is
story.
true.
And I think I have mine, and it's called Shut Up, I'm Talking.
All right,
This is my favorite episode of Spilling Ink ever.
if you were to come up with a sequel, what would the title be?
To my book,
Yeah.
I think it would be that I just need to lie down.
Love it.
Go away.
How about you're an idiot? Keep your distance.
No, that was
Now
2020.
that's the one I like. That's my
that
favorite.
That is 2020's title.
Well,
Actually, That's what I say every day.
Jason, can you give us some kind of a short anecdote that might be in the book? You know, some kind of little teaser.
Well, you want something comedic or dramatic?
Oh, we're on the
your
comedy
choice.
train. No, we're on the comedy train. Keep it funny.
All right.
Please.
There's a thing called Burning Jason, and it's about the whole trip to Burning Man. And I had gone to Burning Man because I wanted to connect with my gay brothers, not as an actor, not as a comedian, not as a known personality, just as one of the guys, because I've never been really good at that. And I went there thinking, and it was 10 years or 11 years ago, 2010. And I went there. No, it was not. It was 09, because I didn't have my Prius yet. I had my other car. And I remember going there and thinking to myself, I'm not going to get a big fancy tent. I'm going to be like everybody else, and da-da-da-da-da. And I bought a little tent, and all the other guys had tents you could walk in, and mine was like, I was like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, looking for my contact lens in the dirt, and then the whole trip was a complete fiasco from beginning to end. I got there, I didn't bring any food along. We all drove in this camper that was with all the old guys. It drove 3 miles an hour. It took 6 days to get there. It was like next Shavuos is when I was going to be there. And one guy was deaf, and the other guy was an ex-porn star for bare sex tapes or something. And we got there. There was no food. So he said, I brought some pot brownies. So I had 2 brownies completely. I was so high. I had no idea where I was. And I put my tent off to the side because I didn't want to be with the other guys. I was afraid they would infiltrate me. It was so crazy. And then when they got there and I went to the food thing in the morning, I hit my head on the top of the truck that it was in, and I passed out. It was the best sleep I had in years. The whole thing from beginning to end was so crazy. I couldn't take it. I had to leave. And I didn't even know that my whole group of guys were all on LSD. Had no idea.
Concussion sleep is good sleep.
Man. Oh, it is. It's Michael Jackson time.
Are you going to do an audiobook version of your book? Because I could seriously sleep to you reading and making me laugh.
I would be happy to, but I've got to sell enough of the written word books. Probably when I get my series, when it comes out, I probably will do that.
Nice.
The redo and add another chapter. Burning Jason is totally hysterical, and I finally left, and I had to get. If you know anything about Burning Man, they have these art things. So there's an art car that looked like a flying carpet. So I got on it, but he wouldn't let me get on it. He only my suitcase, and of course I of course bring to Burning Man a suitcase with rollers. What was I thinking, right? And then I went. They say they do not want you to leave, so you go to the front circle where everybody is, and it was a girl there with one boob hanging out. And I said, "Hey, I need to leave," and you don't want to stare at her boob. Hey, I need to leave. And she sits and she's sitting to you. She goes. Oh, okay. What you do is you go over to the place where all the people. There's a cop there, and he has a car, and he'll drive you into town. Where will I find him? Oh, he left 3 days ago, but he will be back. Then I went over there, and I'm sitting with this poor guy, this little redhead guy. He was so cute, and I'm sitting with him, and no one would have sex with him, and that's why he's leaving. And I'm thinking to myself, there are so many people here walking around naked you did not want to see naked. There were so many. I'm sure you could have found someone to have sex with. I found the most incredible guy that I met there. And I was so high to this day, I don't know whether I met him or imagined him.
Damn.
But it doesn't matter in the end.
Yes, it does. I'm alone in this apartment.
Yeah, come on, Jay. Just keep up with the times, bro.
Oh, look what Angie King says. Worth the buy. Thank you, Angie. Love this woman. She's
I think
so
that
sweet.
is Angie talking about your book or Katie's book, though?
Oh, I don't know.
I think she's
probably Jason's books. That's like
Angie's a major friend from
she showed up for Jason and she stuck around for the insane banter.
She's been following me for years.
Speaking of the book, because we always want to find out how you went about publishing it. Once it was written, did you go traditional, go through an agent and one of the big?
I tried to go through an agent. I called everybody. I'd never done a book before, never had a book deal. So I went, and after we finished it, I called everybody I could and say, hey, I have a book. What do I do? I had an agent in New York that was interested, and then call me back, didn't happen. A lot of people wanted to self-publish the book. and wanted me to pay them to self-publish it. Which seemed
yes.
sort of
Vanity
weird.
presses.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do that. So I sent it to all these people. There were a lot of people interested who strung me along for a couple months. And then CCB Publishing out of Canada, the guy said, I sent him 3 chapters plus, I think I sent him a one sheet and a couple of links to my work. And he said, oh, I know who you are. You're terrific. We'd love to do this. And that was it. It was that simple. We made a deal. And I've been working with him for a year and a half. And he's just terrific.
Nice.
Now, did you go on a media tour with this when it first came out? Or
yes. And then COVID happened. That's what happened. So I had
COVID.
I had 2 book signings, one in Hollywood and one in Palm Springs. And I had several of the other ones in New York and Arizona. And there were other book signings made. But then I started doing things online, and I found that I was selling them more. The book is available through CCB Publishing, through Amazon, all the other sources that people go to, and also on my website if people do really want an autographed copy, which a lot of people did, which I didn't really think was such a big deal these days, but people do want autographs still. I thought the selfie had taken over that. So I basically have people just send me their address, Venmo me, or pen pal $20, and I sign it. And if they do have a DVD player, they get my vintage stand-up comedy special, Making It to the Middle. That's 12 years old now. That just got 2 years ago. It got redone on Here TV, the gay network. They bought it, and it plays there. And I will send them a free DVD with that if you still have a DVD player.
That's pretty cool.
Tell me about Making It to the Middle. What does Making It to the Middle mean?
Well, when I did my stand-up special 12 years ago, I was in the middle of the country, working all over the country, middle of my life, and the middle of my career, and so it felt that way. And it also felt symbolically that I always thought that I was going to be a really big star or a complete failure. And I'm just a guy that makes a living that some people know. And I've been really, really lucky, especially for a gay man, growing up in the 80s, trying to have a career in Hollywood where people would look at me and say things like, you really, we don't really have anything for you. You're going to have to wait till you're older. And I look at myself, I was a cute kid, and I thought to myself, God, why did they say that? I remember auditioning for the open call for The Outsiders, with Tom Cruise and Emilio Estevez and Patrick Swayze and all these really handsome, straight guys. And I think whatever I was selling at the time was something nobody wanted to hear or see. So I think the really cool thing about COVID is I finally learned to forgive myself for that time, for not being more successful, because when I started out with Damon Wayans and Drew Carey and George Lopez and all these pals who I work with, they all got TV series deals when they got really famous. When I got really famous in the 90s, when I came out on the Geraldo show, I got a lot of guest spots, but I could not get anybody to do a series with me. I had 20 producers wanting to do series with me, but it never happened. People would actually say, "There's, a gay guy is not going to get a series, and it's just not going to happen." And I think that, at the time, people didn't. They just said, this color is this. If you are gay, you are this. And I am I talking too much? Because this is a great.
No, keep going.
Go.
This is really important to how my life unfolded. So as the years went on, around in the late 2000s, after I did my TV series, the late aughts, as they say, and I sold it DVD, and I sold it to the Here TV network, and everything, and I had done that, and I realized, okay, I'm not going to get on the talk shows. I tried my best, but one talk show booker said, if you can pretend you're straight and not say anything, or not pretend, if you can just not say anything about being gay, you might have a chance. And that was around 2004 or 5. And that sort of cut me by the knees off. So I went back to acting class. I stopped being the funny gay guy in all the sitcoms I used to be on My Wife and Kids. I played Damon Wayans' shrink. He was nice enough to give me that role. Him and Bruce Fine and his sister Kim and Don Rio and all these really great people had all sat in a room and said, who's going to play a gay shrink on the role? And they said, Jason Stuart. And I got the part. And I did 4 of them. And that sort of changed my career. And then when the sitcoms ended and the stand-up stuff started to change, and I thought, what do I really want to do with my life? And it always went back to being a character actor, being a great character actor. I used to love Dustin Hoffman. I love Whoopi Goldberg. I love Lee Grant and Geraldine Page and J.W. Walsh and Paul, Paul Giamatti and Steve Buscemi. Those are all my guys, all those great character actors. And I went to class and I said, okay, I'm not going to just be the funny gay guy anymore. I can be something more. And I started doing stuff, and I got a guest star on The Closer around 10 years ago, playing a guy who talked like this, and he was a very, Jewishy New York kind of guy. And I started, that whole thing happened. Annoying Jews, funny Jews. And then I went from that to being in a film, a very prestigious film with Fred Molina, Marissa Tomei, and John Lithgow called Love is Strange, and that went to Sundance. And then from that, I did Tangerine, that Sean Baker did, about these two trans gals, and I played this sort of similar character, the Jewy kind of guy, and who was running a manager. I was always a manager of something. For years, I played managers of things, but yet I didn't have any power. And then after that, I got a part in a film called The Birth of a Nation. And that changed my whole trajectory as an artist, as an actor, and opened up the possibilities of me playing. I played a white heterosexual Christian plantation owner in 1831. I won't tell the whole story. In the book, the chapter is called The Birth of an Actor. Nate Parker, this incredibly open man who was at the time, I think he was 35 or 36, and he saw my audition tape, which I had sent to him through my Louisiana agent, because I couldn't get an LA or a New York agent to send me up for anything other than, annoying Jews or funny gay guys or managers. So I did this film. I got cast in this film. I won't tell the whole story, but I went to New Orleans. I went to the callback. I met him in person. My New Orleans agent, I went to Savannah, Georgia, and I stayed at this shit hotel. And I got this, and I paid all on my own dime, and this really crappy, rent-a-wreck. Drove all the way to this mall, practicing my, two scenes that I was going to do in the car. Got there, I'm in the parking lot, and then practicing my stuff. And I see this guy, and he comes over to me, and he says, "I know you." And I thought, who is? I have a fan in the middle of a parking lot in Savannah, Georgia. Who is this? And it was Nate Parker with a hat and a beard, and he said something to me. And I don't know what he said, but he's so handsome and he has so much power as a human that I just knew that I was going to be okay. I went in, I did the audition. He said, "Thank you." He said, "Can you do it again and be a little funnier? This guy's a blowhard." And I went, "Can I be funny? Are you kidding?" I said, "Can I start the two scenes?" And I did both two scenes over. He said, "Thank you very much." I said, "This is a great project." And 2 days later, my agent's assistant in New Orleans calls me up. She goes, how you doing? I said, "I'm fine." She says, well, how's your day going? I said, "Fine." She said, "Well, it's about to get a lot better. You got the part." And I said, "Well, what part?" And I swear to God, I thought it was maybe one of the independent films or an episodic. And she says, "The plantation owner." And I went, my heart stopped. And I said, "Really? Oh my God." And I just started to cry. I just completely just cried. And I couldn't believe it. And then I went into panic mode because I knew I had to do it. And I called every single actor friend of mine. And for 7 days, I worked on this script every single day for 5 hours. Flew to New Orleans. Then they paid me to drive to Savannah. Went to Savannah. Went to see a friend of mine in Florida who's a producer, and arrived 5 days early. And I said to Nate's assistant, who was Denzel Washington's daughter, which I didn't know at the time, and I said, if there's a table reading, I want to be here for it. I'd love to meet with Nate before the film. And I rented another car on my own tab, drove an hour and a half from my friend's house, and met with him. And he was in this big house that he rented with him and his family. It was like Thanksgiving. His mother was there, and his kids, and his wife, and his cousins, and everybody. And he's barefoot, and he comes to the door, puts on his shoes, and we go to this garage that has a room above it. And I walk in, and he's on the other side of the room, and he turns to get to the script. And I said, "Thank you so much for hiring me." And then he goes, "No, thank you." And then he goes to pick up the script and turns again. And I swear to God, I almost, fell apart because, for so many years, people wouldn't let me do things. they wouldn't let me play to become. And this is a big part. It was 8 scenes, and when I went to the screening of it, I remember I had not seen the film, in a year because it takes a long time. I read the script once and I never read it again. And the reason I did is because the character I played, Joseph Randall, the plantation owner, did such terrible things. Being such a liberal Jewish gay guy, there's no way that I could have ever done that, knowing what I was saying caused such horrific things. And the N-word in my mind was just the color red. And I was there to mentor this younger guy, and I was just there to help Armie Hammer and Nate Parker and help them and tell them what to do and how I feel and da-da-da-da. And I had the most incredible artistic experience. Just felt so, wonderful and so happy and just so in my lane. And when I saw the film, and oh my God, I was so overwhelmed by the story. It's such a beautiful film. You can see it on Amazon now. You can rent it for a couple dollars. I think it's $5 or $4 or whatever. And I completely lost it. And then I cried again because my part wasn't cut. And then I cried again because I got front card billing. And the other thing about it, the most important thing is that I've always wanted to be the kind of actor to be in the kind of films that you go into a room and you see something and it completely changes who you are as a person. I really didn't understand, I think 100% what Black people go through in this country. And I probably never will, 100%. But it opened up a door because the whole film was done from the Black point of view. And I don't even say African American, I say Black because these were all different kinds of Black people, not just from Africa, but from everywhere.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I learned that from my friend Cheryl Lee and Whoopi Goldberg, honestly. But the idea, I'm not a Polish American, I'm an American. But so I did tons of red carpet things. And I remember one cute little blonde lady kept saying, "How do you feel about this? How do you feel about playing this character?" I said, well, once, God just waved a wand over my head. And the second thing is that it's not for me to feel anything. What I do is I take off my shoes, I put on the shoes of my Black brothers and sisters, and then I shut up and I listen. My opinion does not matter. And I'm here to be of support and to say, hey, this happened to you. I see that. I see you. And she was like, and then they wanted to talk about scandals and everybody and that's not who I am. What I want to do with my art is to be able to be in things. So it really changed me. And it changed the way I look at things. I mean, I've always been an incredibly liberal, guy, always. I've always had a Benetton ad of friends. And when I see what's happened in this world in the last, 10 years, my heart is broken. So I hope that through art that we can now find a way to patch ourselves up. But that's part of the Jason Stuart trajectory of things, of where I am in my career. And now I do what I want to do. I'm really, really lucky, and I'm blessed, and I'm grateful, and I'm insane and a little nuts. And yeah.
Well, especially writing.
Now going forward, because you were able to do this role, and it's totally different than anything that you've done before, do you think that that's going to alter your trajectory going forward? And
it's already happened. I mean, the movie's been out for 4 years. It really changed everything. I got really great agents. I did literally 30 jobs. I guest starred on Love, the Judd Apatow show. I guest starred on recently, just did Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton and J.K. Simmons. I did Swedish Dicks with Keanu Reeves. I did my first 2 detectives. I have a film called Immortal that's online now, where I play a detective, a really great detective that deals with private detective that deals with spyware. I play a real private dick in a film called Abducted, my first real big action film where I have 4 scenes in it. I run around and go, and I say things. I put my glasses on my head and I go, yeah, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to go there and do the other thing, I was Charles Durning, and I pretended I was Charles Durning. People don't even know who he is. One of my favorite character actors. And then I just started to play gay guys again in the last year or so in my own series, Smothered, and I did a little film called Hank that you can see on Reverie for free. And I play this really sweet gay guy that's in a terrible relationship, and a very quiet film, and it's really wonderful. I wouldn't have gotten those films if it wasn't for the other films. Everything gets something else. Everything takes you somewhere else if you build on it.
Well, and looking back at those earlier films where you were being cast as the funny gay guy or the crazy Jewish guy, do you look back and are you resentful of those roles now, or do you just view them as part of the journey that you were on?
No, and I'd be happy to play a funny gay guy now or a crazy Jew. And I don't want to stop playing who I am. I just want to add to it. I want to be treated as an equal. I don't know whether that will happen in my lifetime. I mean, we live in a very white supremacist world. And they see, the thing is that when we use these hard terms of racist or white supremacist or all these things, people go, oh, that's not me. Well, we all have a little teeny bit of racism in us. We all have a little bit of something in us that we don't like. But the thing is to be aware of it and to know that everything does not have to come from white heterosexual Christian appearing men. And now the world revolves around that. And God, these young people going and marching for Black Lives Matter started by two Black lesbians, I might say, peaceful lesbians. So a lot of the violence that has come attached to Black Lives Matter is not their mission. It is other people who sometimes you wonder why they haven't set the whole country on fire. If you watch anything that has to do with African Americans coming to this country, anything to do with Black history, the idea of what they have gone through, and to expect them to be able to even hold their head up in any way with what's happened in our country, we have to take responsibility for that as white people and as humans. And as a Jew, it's weird. I don't consider myself a white person. My father was a Holocaust survivor and came to this country in 1949. And there's a chapter in my book called Gotta Move, Gotta Get Out. It tells you everything about how he came here. So I think when you're a Jew or you're gay or you're something different, you have an easier understanding sometimes. But I have a cousin who's my age, doesn't think at all, voted for Trump. And you just don't understand that. I don't understand what's going on and how people can do this. I don't understand it. And I think that
a personal question,
please.
And feel free not to answer. I think a lot of us, we build our.
I really haven't had sex in a long time.
No. A lot of us build our empathy through a lot of the trials we face. And that's how we can be empathetic, because we can understand from that point of pain. When you were growing up, did you have a family that was, loving and caring and accepting of you?
Well, then you read, that's in the book, my mother's chapter, which is called, It Was the Worst of Times, It Was the Worst of Times. So I grew up with my family was crazy. My mother would run down on the street, with a knife, wearing cha-cha heels, plastic earrings, and a snap-on ponytail, and culotte.
Sounds like Grandma's
Why
home.
are you doing this to me? So I did not grow. I grew up in a family where my mom was pregnant when she got married, and she was 17, and like a lot of women in the 1950s did not have a decision, was not even an adult, and had to learn how to deal with having 3 children. By the time she was 25, she was dirt poor growing up, didn't know how to do anything. No one taught her anything other than just shut up and have the kids. And, my mom didn't even know how to write a check when she got divorced in the 70s. She'd never even had a bank account. Women, the world, younger people don't understand how different the world is these days and how completely different the world was and the things that we had to deal with. But I love what's happening. You see these kids marching in Black Lives Matter, and I was so proud because they all had masks on, and they, were all, trying in their own ways, and they basically risk their life to say, this matters. This matters. This is worth that. Whereas you saw the other side with white supremacists, Proud Boys, Boogaloos, I don't know what that is. The group.
Boogaloo Boys.
Boogaloo Boys, white nationalists, and you saw them not wear masks, not care about other people, and the heads of their groups, those groups, be violent. I mean, even 2 years ago, Spike Lee put it in his film. You saw people in Virginia marching down the street saying, Jews will not take our jobs, wearing white, people, and I remember watching something on the news when they murdered that girl that was standing between the cars, a white girl. And there was this young black guy that probably could have looked like you, Brian. He was like 21 years old. And you always think as an actor, if something happens, how you would react. That's how an actor minds work. This kid wasn't crying. He was just like, he had been pushed off the car or put, like this. The car like hit him some, as people don't remember. Some crazy guy took his truck, backed it up, and smashed it into all these cars waiting to go into not the parade, to the resistance march, to the march that were in the cars, and smashed them. And this poor young kid, couldn't have been 20 or 21 years old, black kid with glasses, just made me look at you. I just burst out crying. And he said, they tried to kill me. They almost killed, he was like, and I thought, exactly, how else would you react? It's just so shocking. God bless Spike Lee for putting that in his film, Black Klansman.
Black Klansman, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant film, putting that in there and actually showing that, his life is not, he took life at art and he put it together and showed us. And I couldn't breathe. I could not breathe. I gasped for breath when I saw that. And I just was, we have to do better. We have to.
Yeah.
And that's what my book is about. Honestly, that's what it is. It's about some crazy Jewish gay kid who, didn't know where to go, what to do, and about cleaning up the wreckage of my past and becoming a man and becoming a better person through my art.
Well, and you said that throughout your film career, especially up until Birth of a Nation, that you were looking for something to do that was more relevant or more substantive. Do you feel like your book is that? Do you feel like that has a little bit more substance for people?
Oh, yeah, it's funny, some chapters, but it's also touching and it's also mixed up. I always say to a lot of gay men, and it's specifically in gay men so much, is that we put straight women on a pedestal. Now, the first chapter in my book is called Simply Barbara. And we all know who Barbara is, do we not? Streisand, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm not a gay man that doesn't love the divas, but I also think now is the time for us to not stand behind the skirts of straight women and to speak ourselves and to hold each other up in the queer community.
Yeah.
Now is the time for that. It's really important. I mean, you wouldn't see Barbara Streisand hosting the BET Awards, but you would see Lady Gaga host. Oh, she's bisexual. I forgot. So you wouldn't see, I don't know. You wouldn't see whoever, Barry Manilow doing the next Asian Pacific, award ceremony. No, you have your own people. You raise your own people. And Nate Parker kept saying that, to raise each other up. And I've been in 3 films in a row where every single person was asked to help PR and support the film. Love is Strange, Tangerine, and Birth of a Nation. And I was so lucky to see that. And in each film I had a bigger part, 1 scene in one and 4 scenes in another, and 8 scenes. So I was able to watch that it was 14, 15, and 16. And I was able to watch how you can do that to support the artist that hires you. First you do the art, then you do the business. And it's real important to do that. And it's real important to hold each other up. You have to hold each other up.
Right.
It can't be okay what Trump has done, the crimes. It cannot be okay. We cannot turn our head to it.
Well, and it's also not enough to say, well, I don't support that. That's not enough. You've got to be willing to condemn it. You've got to be willing to speak out against it too. I remember, like you were saying about, doing better and, speaking truth and whatnot. I remember when everything happened with George Floyd last year, I wrote a couple of things, and one of them that I said was, look, to my white friends, it ain't enough for you to be angry with me now. I appreciate it, but you need to be sticking up for me when you among your own, when your cousin, your aunties, or whoever are saying something out of pocket about me or people that look like me. You can't just sit there and be uncomfortable and quiet. You got to say something. That's the important thing, and I think that that's what a lot of people need to understand too. It's just like if I'm around family members or whatever, and they say something out of pocket about, the homosexual community, it's up to me to say something. Because I know that if I have a friend who is, transgendered, queer, non-binary, whatever, if somebody says something out of pocket about me or someone that looks like me, I would expect them to stand up for me just like they would expect me to stand up for them. So
and you don't have to get it. You don't have to understand it. You just have to support it.
Right.
It's all. We were talking at the beginning about Jay, and the Jay is a they, and we talked about it. And I said, I said, do you want to be referred to that way? And he said, yes. He says, I know. But he says it. and Jay said that yes, it's hard to do. And I said, yeah, because when I was growing up in school, when you would say those people are them, it was considered derogatory. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to change. It's really ingrained in my mind. But you just try.
Right.
Why does he have to do? Why does Jay have to do that? Why does they have to do that?
Because if that's how Jay feels, then that's how Jay feels. Let it be.
Well, and you said something a little bit earlier, Jason, and I love it because it was actually something that we had touched on in another podcast that I host. You had said that most of us have some kind of prejudices or bad things inside of us that we acknowledge are there. And what I've always believed is we can't always help that, but what you can do is try to better yourself. Acknowledge that.
I said, Nick, do the doilies, just don't send them anywhere.
You got it. That's right. You could do your doilies.
Do your doilies. They make you feel good. Keep them. Just don't give it to the rest of us.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to write a doily, but I can certainly support you making them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it starts at home too, educating your children and.
Oh, you got it. You have kids?
I do.
Yep, I've got a Brian Jr.
Yep.
But matter of fact, Brian Jr. came to me one day and said, "Dad, I think I'm bisexual." I'm like, "Oh, thank God." You think you can go the full way to the other side? Then I don't have to worry about you making me a granddaddy before I'm ready. And he goes,
"There are silver linings."
How old is your son?
He just turned 12. Turned 12.
He thinks he's bisexual.
He said that about 2 years ago. I asked him last year. I said, "So, are there any cute girls or boys in your class?" He goes, "Dad, I don't think I like boys anymore. And I'm staying away from girls because girls are nothing but trouble and I have to keep my head in my books." And I'm like, "You listen to me." Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
But so I think he thought he was bisexual because he probably found another boy attractive, but he knows, so it's whatever. He's got plenty of time to decide.
He's only 12 for God's
sake. He's only 12.
Let him be a kid. Yeah, that's what I was
saying.
Yeah,
and that's what I'd rather.
Everything be so sexualized, so young.
And I'm glad that it's not a thing to him, because the only thing that got me was he asked me, he goes, "Well, Dad, why did that happen to George Floyd?" And I'm like, "Ugh, who told you about that?" He goes, "I saw it on YouTube." And I said, "Effing YouTube."
Yeah.
Ugh. But it's like, I'm doing my best.
It's important for him to know, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I had the talk with him.
Part of our history, you got to have that talk.
Absolutely. We had the talk.
Yeah, you have to have that talk.
Yeah. And his mother, because I was a corrections officer for a couple of years, and one of the police officers in the town that I lived in when I lived in New Hampshire, he's still on their police department. So, he talks to my son when he sees him, and, he'll say, "Tell your dad hi for me." And my ex-wife took him to the police department, and that officer was there. He showed him the car, talked to him about stuff, and blah, blah, blah. So it really helped him to just sort of ease his anxiety, and he got to go back to feeling like a kid. Doesn't mean that I'm getting a good night's sleep, but still.
And you never will. I mean, until this changes, and that's what people don't get.
Yeah.
And there's also a chapter in my book where I talk about, and this I wrote about years before, even having these discussions came into the thing. I worked in Greenville, South Carolina, and there was a waitress there, and I'd worked there several times before. And between the Friday night 8:00 show and the 10:30 show, I was sitting at the bar having my Diet Coke, which I don't drink anymore. And she said something like, "These N-word people, they don't tip." And I had a lot of black people come to see me because I had been on my wife and kids. So the moms who were watching that show had come. A lot of the moms would come. And I said, "Are you talking to me?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I don't go for that. I don't go for that kind of talk." And she said, "Well, you're not one of them." And I said, "It doesn't matter." And she never spoke to me again.
Of course not, because you didn't validate her racism, and that's what they all do. As soon as they start going racist, they look for someone to validate it, and as soon as they don't get that validation, they clam up.
But they get so upset. They get so upset when you would call them that. Even in another thing, maybe you can school me on this, but I think because we're using words that we used before, and now we're reappropriatizing them. So being a racist used to be somebody that was just terrible, like, terrible. But I said to my cousin, I said, I don't necessarily think you're a racist. I think that you say racist things. And if I break it down, you don't really believe that, do you? And you would break it down, and they go, "Yeah, well, I've had da-da-da-da, and I dated black people." Yeah, I said, but you're still saying racist things. So when you say to somebody, Black Lives Matter, we're now supporting people because people are getting killed by the police in their cars and in other ways in larger numbers. And they said, "Well, what about black and black crime?" Well, that's not what we're talking about.
Black on black crime isn't even a thing. Oh my God. Sorry.
But I'm just saying it doesn't matter whether it's a thing or not. It's not. Right. It's not what Black Lives Matter is about.
Well, here's my thing. Anyone that sits there and says, "Oh, well, what about black on black crime?" Oh yeah, what about white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime? Because guess what? Statistically speaking, and this is hard fact put out by the FBI and every single law enforcement agency in this country, is that individuals cause crimes primarily within their own communities. The thing is, with the term of black on black crime, that's that systemic racism that was in the media to put it on there to make it okay to just laugh and shrug off the fact that black people are being killed disproportionately by police for generations upon generations, and that police departments started out as slave catching rings. And that's exactly what they're continuing on doing. There is no race upon race crime. Crime is crime. Period. Anyone that tries to argue anything else is an ignorant asshole.
Right, but Brian, do you think that people don't really get that?
I think they either they don't get, can't get, or refuse to get. Because it's easier, because as soon as you shake up some people's thinking, they don't know where they stand in this universe. And that's the problem. And that is what systemic racism is. If it's going to shake you to your core to find out that black folks don't deserve to be mistreated because we aren't all criminals, we're not all out to rape white women, we're not all thugs, we don't all shuck and jive and dance and eat watermelon and whatever the hell other bourgeois bullshit that they seem to put on us, when they see that we're not like that, boom, head explodes. It's like freaking trancers all over again.
Well,
whew, wow.
I've got to say,
I got riled up there for a second.
I couldn't be happier with how this show has gone. We went from silly and funny and being roasted all around by Jason to turning into more serious, dramatic things, and then to some
Well, that's
really,
my career.
That's right. And then to some really important points that I think that everyone should sit back and absorb and think about, because they're very, very real in this country.
Absolutely. And one other thing I'll throw in there too is that, and I'm going to put essentially every community on blast, because guess what? We don't exist without each other. Bottom line is, that's the bottom line. None of us exist without each other. And that's just truth. No matter what communities might feel, oh, well, we're pretty self-contained and blah, blah, blah. No, we're not. Human beings exist within each other. No matter how you try to separate yourselves into whatever little genres or boxes, we're all one community, one living being.
We are the human race.
Right. And what we need to do is actually hold each other up as such. Because I'm sorry, if dinosaurs came out the ground right now and wanted to take over, they don't see black, white, gay, straight, whatever. You know what they see? Lunch. Okay? And you know what the extraterrestrials see?
I don't need any more fear about something else.
Sorry. Well, sorry. I worry about extraterrestrials and dinosaurs taking over. I can't help it.
People. Why do they always have? Why are you so prejudiced against people from other planets? Why?
No.
Because you know how they are.
No. They have quarantine.
See, now God. We're back today.
Yes.
And you're offending Jay.
You know how them reptilians be.
He's not a reptilian. Right. He's a human being.
All right, boys. And
shout out to Rebekah. Rebekah, thank you for all the comments.
We are at the end of our show, but before we go, I'd love it if Jason could plug his book one more time.
Oh, I've done it enough. My God, shut up! I'm talking. Everything is available on my website. If you want to contact me through any social media, it's all on the front page. You just click onto it. I'm on everything from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, everything. I even have a TikTok page, and you can also sign up. Go to my my web to my email if you want to send me an email through my contact page through my office, Modern Artists, and send me an email, and then I will send you a book for $20. And if you have a DVD, I will send you my stand-up special, which is vintage, and I will sign it and send it to you in the mail the next day.
Well, Jason, we really, really appreciate you coming on. You've been just a fantastic guest.
Well, thank you. I forgive me for talking so much, but
that's what you're supposed to do.
We love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a little carried away, and I've been alone for a long time, and I've no one to talk to.
We all need that connection.
You can talk to me anytime, Jason.
Well, my head is huge. That's all I have to say is my head looks huge.
Well, no bigger than mine.
I know, but we're not talking about you.
That's right. Shut up, he's talking.
There are three guys with three big heads. Look at that.
Before we go,
Fox. Big head.
We got to give another shout out.
He's them and Brian.
Shut up, Katie. He's talking.
Shut up, Katie. I'm talking. You can't talk until you clean that.
What? Look. What's that on there?
I don't know. Something about a thing.
Oh, Angie said, I love it. Awesome hour, and I hope you get sex soon.
Hey, if you want, I can send you a fleshlight. Only slightly used.
All right. I'm gonna
don't make me mute,
Brian.
Boys.
Oh goodness. So yes, and
all right.
that was our second sponsor, Rebekah Jonesy, who also sponsors my other show, but this is about spilling ink right now. Mistress Rebekah Dirty Jonesy. You will be entertained.
And she does live readings every Thursday on her Facebook page, and she is an amazing reader, so you definitely want to tune in and listen to her.
You say reader, what do you mean? She reads books?
Yes.
Yes, those are her books.
Oh, she doesn't read your palms or do readings?
No. She reads
but we have
books.
friends that do that.
Oh.
We do. And speaking of readings, tune in tomorrow on my YouTube channel, because I'll be reading chapters 12 and 13 from A Taste of Your Own Magic.
Yes. All right. And Katie, you better do the rollout pretty quick here before these two go at it again.
All right. We want to thank everyone for watching, thank our guests for hanging out with us, and what a great conversation it has been. It has definitely been a roller coaster ride, which we appreciate on this show. And for everyone out there, we will be back next week. Hopefully our whole team will be recovered. And we will have more fun and interesting conversations and probably more train wrecks to watch.
Yes, and wear your freaking masks.
Share, subscribe, wear your mask, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Joseph.